Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 12th March 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. Today's quote it is by our Mahatma Gandhi, who is father of our nation. So Mahatma Gandhi says, live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Okay. So he says that we have to live that we are going to die tomorrow. So if you know that you are going to die tomorrow, so what are the things that you are going to do within this today? So in that way, what are the things that you want to do, please do it fast. And next one is learn as if you were lived forever. Okay, so you have to learn that if you were to live forever, so how much amount of knowledge you want. So gain that knowledge, right? So this is about this quote, and this quote is useful when you are writing essays and even your mains answers. So first topic is regarding skies wide open. I think last 2 days ago we discussed one article regarding there is a relaxations of international flights. So international flight operations they are going to be started. So today one article which I read in our editorial page regarding the skies wide open. So most of the articles from today's editorials are political articles. So there is no need of political articles, and reading that political issues, it is not at all important from UPSC point of view. So whatever it is important, we are going to discuss that, right? So here central theme of this article says that the resumption of regular international flights should help the travel and as well as hospitality sectors. So actually this airways, which had been the most affected sector due to this COVID-19 pandemic, you know that, right? So because different countries, they went for shutting down of their international borders, and there are no proper international flights that mainly operated between the countries. So because of this no proper air travel, so I can say like there is no proper travel, okay? And even the people who are coming to India, especially for this hospitality sector, for example, to have some medical related emergency like medical tourism, which had been affected. Not only this medical tourism, and even tourism which also been affected. So there are some countries which are mainly famous for this tourism and their economy which is mainly based on this tourism. So that countries that have been hit the most due to this COVID-19 pandemic because of the stalling of international flights. So now whenever there is relaxation or continuation or resumption of this international flights, it mainly helpful for travel purpose and for hospitality sector and even for tourism tech sector. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. Actually this topic it is important from GS paper to under governance. So title says that, okay, so already we saw that title and we understand the central theme. Now let us try to see introduction. So government decision to allow scheduled commercial international flights to resume operations from later this month will be a big relief to travel, tourism and hospitality sectors. So now Government of India took a decision that we are going to resume this commercial international flights. So because of this, it is mainly giving some relief for this travel, tourism and hospitality sectors. And these are the sectors which are mainly hit by this pandemic. An International Air Transport Association which mainly estimates that due to this COVID-19 pandemic, this global aviation industry had been hit the losses, and this losses it is about $201 billion, that is between 2020 to 2022, right? And the tourism and hospitality sectors, they were also very much hit the most. And in this aviation, so this aviation sector which mainly used by this tourism and as well as hospitality industry, right? And because of this shutting down of this international flights, so India's foreign exchange earnings also had been decreased, right? And now let us try to see some more important things. So here this decision which is mainly taken by Government of India for the resumption of international travels, which is also coincided with intensification of sanctions on Russia, right? And because of this Russia-Ukraine issue, so there is intensification of sanctions that is seen on Russia. So US and even other European countries, they impose the sanctions on Russia. So because of this, what happened? So that led to increasing of oil prices, and even global energy supply chains also been disrupted, because most of these European countries, they depend on this Russia for this crude oil and as well as gas. So it is very much helpful for energy security for these European countries, especially some countries which are mainly dependent on this Russia. They are having some different pipelines. We also discussed about those different pipelines are present between Russia and as well as some European countries. And we also talked about Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2 as well. So those also pipelines which are related to this natural gas supply from Russia to European countries, for example Germany. And if you're talking about some more important things which is interlinked with this Russia-Ukraine issue is, so because of this Russia-Ukraine issue, so global energy supply chains had been disrupted. There is decreasing of supply of this crude oil and gas from these countries, and because of this, we can say aviation turbine fuel price also increased. So it is increased by 60% year on year. And because of this increasing of aviation turbine fuel also, so here the expenditure of these airlines will also be going to increase. So whenever expenditure of these airlines is going to increase means, so that will be having effect on the consumers, okay, effect on the customers. There is increasing of price of this tickets for this aviation sector also. So because of this, it is having some cause of concern, like it will further affect the people to use this aviation, okay. So this is the one important thing. And not only this aviation turbine fuel, even due to this crisis, that led to increasing of commodity prices. So how this commodity prices which mainly increase? So whenever there is increasing of cost of the fuel, then we will be using trucks. For example, we are using some important goods carriers such that we can go for transportation of these goods from one place to another place. So because of this, whenever there is increasing of this fuel cost, so transportation cost will be increased. So whenever this overall transportation cost is increasing, so the final goods and services price also will be increased, right? So because of this, we can see there is inflation like condition that not only seen in a single country but across the globe, right? So this is bound to seep into the cost of overseas travel also. So because of this increasing of crude oil prices, so there is also having some effect on overseas travelers. Okay, so now if I want to go to another country, if I want to take this airplane or flight, and the cost will be increased, and not only the cost of this aviation turbine fuel increased, but even cost of the commodities also increased. So for example, if I want to go to another country for example any vacation, okay, for entertainment, so for entertainment and for the food also I have to increase my budget, right? So it will be having some negative impact on tourism sector, because already we know that due to this COVID-19 pandemic, it had a lot of impact, okay, impact on the people. So people do not have proper income, proper livelihood, that led to decreasing of their savings as well. So if I have savings only, I will be planning for the vacations. If there is no saving means, how can I? So even though if I am having a very little amount of savings, so if I want to go for any vacation, now the travel cost will had been increased, and even food and as well as entertainment cost also been increased. So because of this, what happened, there will be some negative mindset that will be developed in the people, that there is no money, how can we go out? So this will be also having some negative impact on this tourism sector as well. So in this context, what is the way forward? So restoring visitor confidence through enforcement of this COVID-19 protocols, and even we can go for vaccination, okay. Vaccination coverage, it is also not much enough, but here we can go for increasing of some indirect taxes will also have some negative impact. So here we need to go for decreasing of this indirect taxes, such that what happened, we need to increase the confidence in the people, okay. Lowering of this aviation turbine fuel by cutting down the duties, it is one option which is mainly present with the government, mainly to encourage the people, right? So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding industrial output grows 1.3% in January. So it is talking about industrial output. So here we need to know about index of industrial production and we need to know about core sectors. So this topic, it is important from our economy point of view. So now let us try to see the context. So if you see context, it mainly says that India's industrial output grew 1.3% in January 2022. So in January 2022, India's industrial output which mainly grew by 1.3%. And if you're talking in December, it is like 0.7%. But it was still only 0.7% high above this pre-pandemic levels as per this data released by this National Statistical Office. So National Statistical Office which mainly released this data, it mainly says that industrial output which mainly grew like 1.3%, and earlier it was like 0.7%. So compared to earlier, it is like just 0.7% above this pre-pandemic level. So if we are talking about details, it mainly says that manufacturing output which mainly rose 1.1%, while mining production which mainly grew by 2.8%, and electricity generation which also went up by 0.9%. So due to this COVID-19 pandemic, we saw industries, most of these construction sites, everything had been stalled. So because of that, at that time there is decreased demand for this electricity. And now what happened, all the factories which had been opened and manufacturing which is mainly going on, and there is increased demand for this electricity. So here 0.9% high electricity generation which mainly seen. And even we saw that the coal which is used for the production of this thermal electricity also, that had been very low, and we saw the coal crisis as well. So at that time, so because of this low amount of coal that we had, so we went for low production of this electricity as well. So we can also connect this point with that coal crisis as well, right? And the production of consumer durables which also slumped for the 5th month in a row within the January, and we can see consumer durables which had been contracted, that is decreased demand for this consumer durables by 3.6%. And now let us try to see this some facts regarding this index of industrial production. So what is this index of industrial production? So actually it is one of the indicator. So what it measures? So this index of industrial production which mainly measures changes that are happening in the volume of production of industrial products during a certain time. So for example, for monthly or for yearly. So how the volume of production which is mainly changing. So this is a thing which mainly measured by this index, that is index of industrial production, and it is compiled monthly by National Statistical Office. So this National Statistical Office which mainly comes under MOSPI, okay, Ministry of Statistics Program Implementation, and it is one of the composite indicator, and it mainly measures the growth rate of industry groups, okay, and it mainly includes like broad sectors, use based sectors. So broad sectors which mainly includes mining, manufacturing, electricity. So if you go back to the context, or if you see in these details, we discussed about electricity, mining and manufacturing. So why we discussed about this mining, manufacturing and electricity? Because so this index of industrial production which mainly measures broad sectors and as well as use based sectors. So in this broad sectors we have mining, electricity and manufacturing. So in this way you have to connect with the basics. So if you don't know basics means you will be getting confused like why this only given, right? And if you're talking about 8 core sectors, it mainly comprises about 40.27% of weight which is mainly included in this IIP, right? So which are these 8 core sectors? FERN, 3C. So this is the mnemonic first 3C. So F for fertilizer, E for electricity, R for refinery oils or refinery products, N for natural gas, S for steel, 1C for coal, crude oil and cement. So these are 8 core sectors in the order which is given here. So you can refer that. And now if you see this image, I found this image, it is very interesting. So actually it is one of the solar thing, okay, solar panels which are arranged in a form of a tree, right? and this is mainly seen in Andhra Pradesh. So let me know your comments or what you think regarding this model of solar power generation. Okay, so whether it is useful or whether it is having disadvantages, let me know the advantages and disadvantages in comment box. Okay, and now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding India-China hold 15th round of military talks. So already we saw some introduction regarding this topic. So now once again let us try to see this topic in great detail. So as you know, India and China, which is mainly sharing boundary. So this is India, for example, this is China. So in this India and China, so we are having some issues regarding the boundary. So issues at western sector, issues at central sector, right, and issues at eastern sector. So this is western sector, this is central sector and eastern sector. So what happened? China, which is mainly claiming entire Arunachal Pradesh in this eastern sector, and Uttarakhand and some Himachal Pradesh areas, we are having some disputes. And if you are talking about western sector, across LAC, line of actual control, we are having issue. Since 2020 April, May onwards, so across this LAC, we saw military standoff which is mainly going on. So in this military standoff, that also led to this Galwan Valley incident. So in this Galwan Valley incident, about 20 Indian soldiers, they lost their life. And regarding Chinese soldiers, there is no proper report which mainly says that how many soldiers from Chinese side they lost their life, right? So what happened? Mainly for the de-escalation or disengagement in this LAC region. So till now we went for 15 rounds of talks. So this 15th round of talk which held very recently on Friday, that is yesterday. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. And before that, if you are talking about some important issues like where the standoff which is mainly happening. So patrolling point 15 is there, Gogra Hot Spring areas, Depsang area, okay, and Pongyongso Lake area. So these are some conflicting areas between India and China. So now if you see context, it mainly says that so 15th round of this Corps Commander talks between India and China, they began. Okay, so between India and China, 15th round of this Corps Commander level talks which mainly began, and it is on the Indian side of Chusul Moldo meeting point. So at this Chusul Moldo, so we had this meeting, and in this meeting the immediate focus which was on disengagement arrangement at PP, patrolling point 15, and in Gogra Hot Spring area, and also it is talking about overall disengagement and as well as de-escalation process. So if you are talking about details, it mainly says that so different sources which mainly expressed that so the outcome of the talks, they talked about mainly the outcome of the talks, and they stated that on the both the sides they mutually accepted solution. Okay, and what are the things they discussed? That is encouraging and as well as positive outcomes you are going to see in future. So if you are talking about the standoff which mainly began in May 2020 onwards, and so far they went for 14 rounds of talk, and the recent talks which mainly happened on Friday. And what happened? So in this levels of talks, so they came up with this engagement in this Pongyongso Lake area and patrolling point 17 at this Gogra area, and they also talked about this Galwan Valley incident that led to a violent clash between this Indian and as well as Chinese soldiers. So the other areas they ought to be at resolved here is patrolling point 15, Demchok area and as well as Dipsang Plain areas, and over 50,000 troops and heavy equipment which mainly continue to be deployed on the both the sides, which is close to this line of actual control. Okay, so you have to know that what is the reason behind this military standoff across this LAC region. So actually you know that it is a very rough terrain and we are having lake here, so there is no proper demarcation of this LAC. So India says that it will be mainly moving till this finger 8. So here Chinese says that no, that is not the actual line. Chinese says that it will be mainly moving, it is near finger 4. Okay, so because of this because of this different perceptions of Indian side and as well as from Chinese side, that led to this dispute actually. So India has been insisting on comprehensive disengagement and de-escalation of the situation in this eastern Ladakh region, but Chinese they are not accepting, or they have been reluctant to discuss this Dipsang area and as well as Demchok area. So if you're talking about where are these areas are present, and if you see, this is a map that you can see on the screen, right? So here this is LOC. LOC, it is nothing but line of control. LOC is line of control. It is present between India and Pakistan. And LAC, line of actual control, that is present between India and China. So this area which mainly comes under Pak occupied Kashmir or Pak administrated Kashmir, right? And here this is our Jammu and Kashmir, and here this is our Ladakh. So these are two Union territories as of now, right? And this area which is Aksai Chin, which is under control of China. And here you can see this small portion, right? So this portion or this area which is mainly ceded by Pakistan to China without permission, right? So this is the area which is under control of China, and this area which mainly ceded by Pakistan to China. And China says that CPEC which is mainly passing in this area, that is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which mainly comes under this BRA, Belt and Road Initiative of China. So whenever any project or any developmental project which is mainly going in this disputed area means, so it will be not accepted. So because of this, India which is not accepting this CPEC, okay, which mainly connects Xinjiang province to Gwadar port of Pakistan, right? And if you're talking about where are these locations which are present, which are in news, so here we have this Demchok, here we have this Demchok, and here we have this Chusul area, here we have Pong Yongso Lake, and here we have Gogra Hot Springs area. So here we have one infrastructure project, that is Dibruk Shiok Daulat Beg Oldie Road. Okay, so that is the infrastructure development that is mainly doing by this BRO, right? And if you see, the one important point which is said in this article is China has also undertaken massive construction of this infrastructure, even habitat and support structures to maintain the troops across this LAC region. So which is mainly altering this ground status. So not only from India side but also from Chinese side, they went for large scale of infrastructure development, troop development and support structures, etc. That is mainly supporting this army people across this LAC region. So now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding Russia offers more oil to India. So now because of this ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis, okay, because of this Russia-Ukraine crisis, so most of the oil and as well as natural gas had been halted by Russia. So because of this, there is increasing of prices of this Brent crude oil. So we discussed in our last lecture. So now let us try to see what is this article trying to talk. So if you see context, it mainly says that, so because of the sanctions were imposed by Western countries like USA and as well as European countries on this Ukraine, and even ban on the fuel exports to US, Russia it is keen to increase the oil and as well as petroleum product exports to India. Okay, so according to the statement which is issued by the Russian government, they mainly talked about possibilities of strengthening of India-Russia strategic partnership, especially in this energy sector. So Russia's oil, petroleum products which mainly exports to India, so it is about, for example, $1 billion, and there are some opportunities mainly to increase the size. So this is the thing which mainly said by this Russian government. And US mainly announced a recent complete ban on import of oil from this Russia and even petroleum products, okay, that is from March 8 onwards. So this decision that led to a sharp spike of oil in the global market, and we saw that increasing of this crude oil price, it is like $139 per 1 barrel, right? And the prices which mainly remain over $100 per barrel, which is one of the global cause of concern here, because whenever the increasing of crude oil prices happening, that will leads to overall increasing of price of the goods and services in the market, right? So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding North Korea. North Korea may fire missile to put satellite in space. So actually here we need to focus on this ICBM, that is intercontinental ballistic missile. So if you are going through this missile topics from your basic from science and technology, so you will be coming across this ballistic missile and cruise missile. So let me know what is the difference between this ballistic and cruise missile. So if you are talking about intercontinental ballistic missile means, so it have the capability to attack. Okay, if you are firing from one continent, it can reach another continent. That means the length it is very high. So this is ICBM. So length it is nothing but the range. The range of this missile will be very high, so that can hit the other continents as well. Right. So this article it is important from science and technology, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So if you see context, it mainly says that North Korea, okay, North Korea has tested parts of its biggest intercontinental ballistic missile in 2 recent launches. So recently what happened, it went for trial. Okay, in this trial it mainly conducted some trial regarding this intercontinental ballistic missile. So this is the thing which mainly said by US and as well as South Korean militaries. So to understand why this US which mainly involved here, you need to know about this Korean crisis. So if you know about what is this Korean crisis, what is the demilitarization zone between this North Korea and South Korea, and US which is mainly supporting South Korea actually. So because of this, there is a rivalry between North Korea and as well as US which is mainly happening. I think in 2017 there was one issue between USA and as well as North Korea regarding this Guam. Okay, Guam. So the North Korea says that you are going to short this Guam. Actually this Guam, it is a small island territory which is present, and here this bases of US are present. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly happened in 2017. So if you see the location of this Korea, so this is China, and here we have this small peninsula like thing, right? So here we have 2 countries. First one is North Korea and second one is South Korea. Okay, and USA which is mainly supporting this South Korea but not North Korea. So because of this North Korea and USA, they are rivalries. So here USA and as well as South Korea which is mainly saying that yes, North Korea which mainly tested some parts of this biggest intercontinental ballistic missile in recent 2 launches. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said actually they are going for conducting of test for this intercontinental ballistic missile, mainly to put spy satellite into orbit, right? So here if you are talking about location of this North Korea, here we have China, and here we have North Korea, and here we have this South Korea. So one question I want to ask, so North Korea which is sharing boundary with which of the countries? So let me know this answer for this question in the comment box. Don't forget about that. You can see the map here and give me the answer. That's it, right? And here we have this East China Sea, and here we have this Japan, right? And if you're talking about some facts regarding this intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM, so actually it is a land-based or nuclear armored ballistic missile, and the range which is more than 5,600 kilometers. So it is having a much longer range such that it can be fired from one continent to another continent. So this ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, which is mainly having some countries like US and Soviet Union, that is our Russia, China, France, Israel, North Korea and UK. So those are the countries, and even India also developing this ICBM, right? And now let us try to see one important topic. Actually India also have this ICBM, right? And if you are talking about next article which is mainly talking about CEPA, okay, CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So India and Canada to reboot trade agreement ties. So actually what happened, so before this COVID-19 pandemic itself, we are mainly having some talks regarding this CEPA between India and Canada. Due to this COVID-19 pandemic, it had been delayed. And okay, so actually this CEPA which is already okay, which had to be concluded in September 2021, okay, and after this Canadian elections we thought that okay, so we are going to have this CEPA, but we need to go for again rebooting of talks regarding this SEPA with this Canada now. So this article, it is important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 3. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that India and Canada, they have decided to restart the talks for this SEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and they are mainly focusing on investment protection agreement also. So now let us try to see some important details. So actually, if you're talking about bilateral trade, that is trade between India and as well as Canada, it is like $6.3 billion as per 2021. And now the two countries, they also agreed for SEPA, that is Comprehensive Trade Agreement or Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, that will be helpful to increase the trade and even increase the investment flow between these two countries. And the SEPA negotiations will be formally restart, and two countries, they will be considering this EPTA, that is Early Progress Trade Agreement. Okay, that is Early Progress Trade Agreement, that could conclude early in this transitional step. And this Early Progress Trade Agreement, which mainly includes high level commander talks, and we can say like they will be having some talks especially regarding commitments in goods, and they will be having talks regarding services, rule of origin, and even sanitary and as well as phytosanitary measures. So if you are reading this WTO, there you can come under this sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So because of no proper sanitary and phytosanitary measures, so many products from India, they are mainly rejected actually, okay, under this WTO rules. So this phyto and sanitary measures, they are very, very important, especially for boosting of exports from India under this WTO rules, right? And we need to talk, they also going to talk about technical barriers to trade, for example duties, import duties, export duties, etc. And there is a need of dispute settlement system as well. Okay, so these are the some important things they are going to have under this Early Progress Trade Agreement. So if you're talking about some facts regarding this SEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, so it is like a free trade pact. Okay, it is like a free trade pact, and this pact, which mainly covers negotiation of trade in services, and it also includes even investments and other areas of economic partnership, and they mainly talk about trade facilitation, customs cooperation, competition, intellectual property rights as well. And these partnership agreements or cooperation agreements, they are more comprehensive than this free trade agreement as well. And the SEPA also looks into the regulatory aspects of trade, and also it mainly focus on agreement, etc. Right? So now let us try to see the questions. So first one is the social and cultural life of 18th century India can be best depicted by. So you have to know the social and as well as cultural life of 18th century. So there is no uniformity of culture and social patterns all over the country. Yes, of course. And the friendly relationship between Hindus and Muslims, they were very healthy feature of 18th century. Yes. And because of that only both Muslims and Indians, they participated in this movement, right? And next one is the Indian mind of 18th century was tied to traditions and superstitions, of course. So correct answer will be 3, 1, 2 and 3. And next question is regarding subsidiary alliance. So by signing the famous subsidiary alliance, Indian state virtually lost the control over the most of their rights. So which of the following can best, here it is asking best represent the status of Indian states under this subsidiary alliance. So there is loss of control over sovereignty in external and internal matters, but only regarding this foreign relations and defense it is going to. Yes, so the first one is incorrect. Okay, and next one is limited rights on defense and foreign relations. It is not exactly limited rights, right? So it is incorrect. And next one is the Indian rulers became insolvent as a result of exploitation and heavy maintenance. Yes, this is correct. And next one is Indian ruler had a provision to station one European or maintaining diplomatic ties with their neighboring state in discretion. To understand the answer, let us see explanation part. So actually under the subsidiary alliance, so it is an agreement, right? So they mainly accept permanent stationing of British forces in the territory, and they will be paying subsidy or they will be paying money for the maintenance of that Britishers, right? So what happened here means So it also provides Indian ruler would agree to posting in his court a British resident, okay, and he would not employ any European in his service without the approval of the British, okay. So here what happened, next one is they will be also having the right to self-defense of maintaining diplomatic ties or employing foreign experts and settling the dispute with the neighbors. So it also lost the control over defense and as well as foreign relations, okay. So here in this way the second statement itself it is wrong, okay. It is not like limited rights, but there is no actually rights for this defense and as well as foreign relations. So here 2 is there everywhere, so correct option will be none, okay. And today's questions are, the first one is regarding Jamindari system. So already I gave one question regarding Mahalwari system, and this is about Jamindari system. And the next question is about Brahma Samaj, which mainly established by Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So please try to give the answers for these questions in the comment box, okay. So here in Rathod's IAS we have this mains answer writing practice, we have this prelims test series, and we are also planning to launch this pen drive courses for entire foundational course. And if you don't want the pen drive courses, you can visit our website, and there you can get courses which we are offering in Rathod's IAS. So please visit our website. The website link is given in description box. So whenever you are going to our website for the first time, it will ask for registration. So you have to register with your email, okay. And later on you can go with the demo videos that we are providing, okay, in our Rathod's IAS website. So please try to get that courses that will be very useful for conceptual clarity and to clear UPSC as well. So now let us try to see, okay, now let us try to see today's newspaper PDF, okay. So this is today's Hindu, date here is March 12, 2022. I hope you can see. So first article here is positive shifts in the talks with Ukraine, Putin. So actually this article which is mainly talking about, okay, talking about some positive shifts that we can see in this Russia-Ukraine crisis. Okay, so here this article which is mainly talking that the conflict that would end when the West took some actions, especially to address this Russia's concerns. So whenever Western countries they are addressing the concerns of this Russia, then we can see there might be decreasing of conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So that is the thing which mainly said. You can go through that article. So if you move forward, leave this city page, and if you come to this state page, so you can see some articles. So it is about this solar tree. So I asked one question regarding to give your opinion regarding the solar tree. And next article it is regarding first indigenous COVID drug to be available soon. So this drug name is WinCov-19, okay, WinCov-19. It is a COVID-19 drug. So actually what happened, so this is the first indigenous drug to treat this COVID-19, and it is to be made public, okay, made to public soon, okay. Actually it is now in clinical trials. So let me know the different stages of clinical trials. Already we discussed that number of times, right? And this is the thing, this is the product, that is a WinCov-19, and it is a collaborative effort of the CSIR, Center for Cellular Molecular Biology, University of Hyderabad, and even city based VINS bioproducts, okay. And this drug it is like inactivated and injected into horses, and later on the antibodies which are generated through this blood serum which is mainly synthesized and purified into a drug, okay. So what happened, whenever these antigens which are mainly injected into horse body, so this horse body will be generating antibodies, and these antibodies which are mainly extracted, and they will be synthesized and they will be purified, and that is mainly turned into drug, and finally that will be injected into humans for neutralizing this COVID-19 virus. Actually this drug which is nothing but antibodies against this COVID-19, right? And if you move further to the states page number 7, okay, there is nothing much here. So many states they went for introducing of this budget, right? So this is about highlights of the budget of different states. So which state you are belonging to, you have to refer the budget of your state. And here in this editorial page I saw one article, it is also important, that is regarding energy policy, okay. So it is about nuclear expansion plans of different countries, so you can go through that. I discussed about this airways, that is skies wide open, right? and there are assembly polls. There is no need of referring these pages. And if you go through this news page, okay, here I didn't find anything much relevant, and here we discussed about this 15th round of military talks. Yes, and here you can find one article, that is Lancet death figures are faulty. So recently, I think 3 days ago, we discussed one article regarding Lancet report regarding COVID-19 related deaths. Actually, this study, it is mainly published in an international journal, and it mainly talking about this COVID-19 mortality in India, which is higher than official counts. Okay, so this report says that, so whatever the COVID-19 related deaths which are happened in India, it is more than the official counts which are mainly released by this health ministry. So this is the thing which mainly said. Actually, government says that this report is faulty. And next article, it is regarding Russia offers more oil to India. We discussed that. And if you move further to this world page, so here you can see US allies to end normal trade ties with Russia. So already you know that USA, which mainly impose sanctions on Russia, and even some European countries also impose sanctions on Russia, and other countries who are having good relation with USA, they have to also impose some sanctions on Russia. So in international relations, you can remember one thing is, friend will be friend, friend's enemy will be enemy, right? So this is the thing which can we see in this article. And here North Korea, which mainly may fire missile to put satellite in space, we discussed that. And if you come to business paper, so there are many articles. So first one, it is regarding Ukraine halts half of world's neon output for chips. Okay, so actually it is mainly talking about neon output. So whenever we are talking about this microchips, so this neon, it is very important component. So we are getting this neon from this Ukraine. So Ukraine's two leading suppliers of this neon, so it is mainly helpful for the half of the world. Okay, for the half of the world it is very much useful, because this neon which is helpful for making of these chips. So because of this decreased output of this neon from these two leading suppliers of this neon from Ukraine, that mainly led to threatening of rise of prices and aggravate semiconductor shortage. So these semiconductors are very much critical for many important applications that we are using. For example, even mobiles, for everything we need this semiconductors. Okay, right? So this is the thing which mainly given here. And apart from that, here you can see balancing inflation growth, it is key. It is a thing which mainly said by our finance minister. So in country, now we are seeing inflation. So apart from this, we need to focus on the growth. So these are the two important challenges that we are facing. Okay, not only India, but many other countries are also facing this balancing inflation as well as growth. And here our finance minister also discussed about this global supply chain disruptions, and even there is rising of this commodity prices in our economy, and in this context we need to focus on multilateral action. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said by our finance minister. And here you can see about this article regarding this SEPA. So these are some important articles that appeared in this today's newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe to Rathod Science Academy, and please like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.